makes we don't know what he's going to do executive order wise on immigration, but if he makes a major move along the lines of what we've been hearing, which is to give some sort of status to keep millions in this country with some sort of special visa, that will be like
finger in the eye.
Just popping the grenade and throwing it in the middle of the Senate floor.
I think
popping a grenade and setting it in the middle of the Senate floor, says Candy Crowley, is what it would be like if Obama signed an executive order on immigration. And today, of course, he said he will sign an executive order on immigration. So I wonder if Candy Crowley and the rest of them, Chuck Todd also gave similar commentary last night and this morning. So I wonder if they're going to stick with it now that they know for sure the president's going to do it. Joining us now is Noah Rothman, associate editor for HotAir.com. Hey, Noah. Hello, Noah.
Can you hear me? Testing, testing.
Yeah, now I do. Yes, now I do, sir. Good to talk to you. Before we talk about the specifics of last night, what do you make of the president doubling down and saying he's going to issue that executive order before the end of the year?
Yeah, the general consensus seems to be today that he's boxed himself into a bit of a corner. He can't really not move on immigration. He's made too many promises. His left flank is really already quite weak and dispirited. And if he doesn't move on immigration, or if he does move on immigration, then he's going to infuriate the incoming 115th Congress, dominated by Republicans, which isn't going to really want to work with him anyway. So he's in a bit of a pickle. I suspect he does do something, again, only because he has to. But as Candy Crowley said, I don't think it'll be as significant as issuing a new form of a visa, which would be a nuclear move. It'll be something a little more circumspect, I would think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what would be, playing devil's advocate here, and I'm sure this would be Mitch McConnell. Give the new Congress 6 months. I mean, you waited all this time. If it was that important to you, you could have done it in your first 2 years when you had the House and the Senate. You didn't, and you played politics with it. Give it 6 months, and then you have a good reason, at least in your own mind, to say, hey, I gave him 6 months. I got nothing that I could sign. I'm going ahead. But to do it before, and with the old, Congress still there, and then say, if the new Congress doesn't like it, they could send a bill to my desk, and if I sign it, it'll supersede it. I just think that the bad blood is going to be out in force.
Yeah, that I think would be the conciliatory move. I just don't see him being really predisposed to doing that, and that would infuriate the members of his party who are already rather dispirited and kind of think that the president is, they won't say this openly, but I think they kind of believe the president is sacrificing a bit of the Democratic Party's majority support from the Hispanic community by dithering on this issue and by going back on his promises. Republicans got a lot of Hispanic votes last night. I think that's going to make Democrats very nervous.
Yeah, I think up to 35 from 27 in the last election. So what is your overall take? I mean, it was such a good night that Sandra Fluke, or Fluck, whatever she calls herself, lost by 22 points in her state race in California. So everything, for the most part, broke Republicans' way and then some.
Yeah, big time. It was a fantastic night for Republican candidates. They beat the spread. They won the Senate outright. They're going to have a significant majority, possibly even one that can withstand the 2016 map, which is going to be pretty harsh. NBC News projects that they're going to have a 250 member majority in the House, which is the biggest since at any point since the 1920s, before democratic progressivism existed. They actually beat the spread on the gubernatorial level. A lot of smart people thought they would lose 4 seats. They ended up gaining 3. And now the Republicans control the governorships and both chambers of the state legislature in 24 states, compared to only 7 for the Democrats. It's a real trouncing. It's a rebuilding of the Republican bench across the nation that they haven't seen in generations. And it's all due to this president and his general overreach and his party's overreach and really failure to govern. And I think they have no one to blame but themselves. A lot of people think that this is going to be a poison chalice for Republicans because now they have to govern. But we saw some signals from Mitch McConnell today, which suggests that he's going to govern by consensus, quite narrowly, no major objectives, big sweeping reform objectives in mind, which are perilous and fraught. So I anticipate they're going to play it rather safe. and the whole
right. And to that point, Noah, not to interrupt, sorry. Major Garrett asked the president at the press conference, okay, here's some of the things I'm told that they're going to do. Keystone Pipeline. The president said, well, you know, that's under review, and I have to ask myself, is it going to make the economy stronger? In other words, he ain't going to sign it. I can tell you right now, he will not sign it. They will put it on his desk. Then I think the next thing they asked him about after Keystone, if I can find it, a couple of other issues that the medical device tax. He wouldn't go there. He said earlier that he would not take anything or be receptive to anything that would defund part of the funding of the Obamacare, and he would not comment specifically on the medical device tax, where there's strong bipartisan support on both Keystone and the medical device tax repeal.
And those are two really smart ways to go about putting the president in a real corner. Because, as you said, they're both really majority supported. The president isn't going to support Keystone because he doesn't want to support Keystone for political reasons. It's been under review for 5 years now. The review is over.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the review. It has everything to do with Tom Steyer, the Democratic left, the environmental left.
Right.
And he's not going to, quote, repeal Obamacare. But the medical device tax isn't Obamacare. And he knows that. And the public knows that. Hopefully conservatives...
It is going to be a... I'm sorry, I just want to say it is a smart move, Noah, to go for those two things first, and I can't wait till they do it. Noah, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Noah Rothman, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with the newly elected congressman of the New York's 1st Congressional District, Lee Zeldin. But first, stay tuned for your Max to Money moment as we learn about some basic investing tips.
You're watching Max to Money.
We never know when interest rates will shoot up, but they can't stay near record lows forever. So if you're investing in bonds, now is a good time to start thinking about playing defense and making changes to your financial future.
Well, we all hear now is a great time to buy a home because interest rates are so low. But we all know that at some point down the road in the future, we don't know when, interest rates are going to rise. Interest rates and bonds have an inverse relationship. As interest rates go up, the value of the bond goes down. So the reason you really want to look at the bonds in your portfolio right now is to understand how you're positioned for a rising interest rate environment.
If retirement is around the corner, be careful with your bond selection. Understand what individual bonds you own, as well as bond mutual funds. Then talk with your financial advisor to figure out the best strategy for you and your family. I'm Hannah Ostapchuk.
Get more money news at Newsmax.